Hey, it's Euan from GameEngineStart.com. Here are some of the best things I played during the February 2024 Steam Next Fest. This is one I've been waiting for a long time, and after I get my hands on it in Next Fest, I am so happy with what's here. So think Stalker, but you drive a janky car that you get to bolt things to survive out in the wilds. So essentially, you get pulled into an exclusion zone in the US Pacific Northwest. You're contacted by some of its inhabitants.
Oh, someone out there?
Who give you a car and the use of a workshop.
Oh, well.
And are basically told to go venture out into the zone to collect materials and weird shit to assemble a contraption to get you out of there. The zone feels genuinely creepy. The anomalies you'll find out there are like mixes of concepts you've probably seen before, but there's some real strange stuff out there as well. The maintenance of the car is just in depth enough to be fun without being completely ridiculous, like a simulator or something like that. All of this, and it's out 29th of February, so it's super soon, and I am so excited for it.
Tell me something. If you're God's chosen one, why didn't God heal you completely right away?
That's a good question.
Man, what a strange thing that I need to see the rest of as soon as possible. I'm going to keep this one kind of short because there's a lot of stuff in here I don't want to spoil. So you start with a very sharp looking period piece with a nun and a wounded soldier travelling through a vaguely Eastern European feeling snowscape to get the soldier's wounds looked at. But then you notice the strange UI element in the top left, which seems to match the menus and the upgrade tree. And then you do things a nun would do and you get like an 8-bit coin. All of this happens while a mischievous, disembodied voice tries to get you to do bad stuff.
Is the same as reading one. What about stealing? Pocketing a ruble, for example. Is that worse?
Worse.
And then under all of that, there's some really aesthetically jarring music playing at moments. And then, in this demo specifically, like, there's a thing that happens. And I was immediately confident that this was going to be a thing I need to see through. There's no date on it or anything yet, but I'm desperate to see where this thing goes. I've been watching the development of Sushi Ben for a long time, and actually getting to see it in an actual VR headset, it was everything I hoped it was going to be. It also looks like it's going to be way more of a full adventure rather than just the fishing mini game that I'd be expected as you start to rescue a failing sushi shop. There's a full town here, it seems, with a bunch of boarded up shops that I assume will be resurrected, and a bunch of super fun characters that I have to assume are going to get you to do stuff for them. The style of this thing immediately stands out, and it's really hard to communicate in 2D how well it works. The manga panels that you'll see are themselves little 3D scenes, and it's such a cool way to add even more on top of what's already some great character design and some really great dialogue. The game's already out for MetaQuest, so hopefully it's not going to be too long before it hits the other headsets when it launches on Steam later this year. And it's going to launch with a non-VR mode in case you don't actually have a headset.
Ktoś tu jest? Hej, proszę, wysłuchaj mnie. Potrzebuję twojej pomocy.
Love a good isometric adventure game, and this one has a trick up its sleeve. It's got the old Resident Evil vibes with inventory puzzles and code locks and whatever, but the environment itself is actually a full 3D world, and it only shows isometrically and in low resolution, which means it can do some really, really cool things with lighting and physics, some of which actually directly factor into the gameplay and the puzzles themselves. And then you get to the combat, and it pulls another Resident Evil trick by going over the shoulder in a way that made me audibly gasp the first time I saw it. Great feel, it's got great mood, and I'm super interested to play the rest of this whenever it launches. There's no date on it yet.
Nic tu kurwa nie jest zwykłe. Co mam ci powiedzieć?
I'm just going to leave this screen up for a second and stop talking to let you really just take in the vibes.
We're putting the audience's love into your bloodstream.
As someone who grew up with 90s anime, if you take that, drop in a healthy dose of synthwave and every single colour that has ever existed, and you've immediately got my attention. It's a speedrun shooter that really prioritises feeling awesome over everything else. You're sliding through vents and putting fire axes through robot heads as quickly as possible before your 15 seconds of life run out. It's all narratively wrapped around social media and live streaming nonsense, but it does actually work.
But if you die, you come back to all these floors. You read the terms and services of our app, right?
Super fun, super dumb. Can't wait for it. No date on it yet. Hopefully soon. This thing is PS1 Silent Hill, but make it Blade Runner. So of course I'm going to be into it. It's so committed to this bit that there was a patch during Next Fest that added in tank controls, so I am super confident that the dev knows their source material, and it really comes across what they're showing here. It's got a really good oppressive mood, helped by the fact that it's really leaning into the British setting. Sometimes it looks better than 2024 Britain, to be honest. Everything down to the spinny inventory and the UI elements just makes my soul happy, and along with some really great design and some really promising voice acting, it separates it from a lot of the PS1 aesthetic games that are out there. Just great stuff. Currently just marked as coming soon. Vaguely remember having a conversation with Callum where I described wanting exactly this game, and then it drops into my lap during Next Fest. It's just the Resident Evil inventory management turned into a game all on its own, and for some reason that really appeals to me. The whole objective of the thing is to fill your adventurer's pack, aligning items to chain effects and bump stats so that you can beat down other people in the auto battle or combat. You spend the money you win on bigger packs and more shiny things, you go back and fight more people and repeat. I played way more of this than I expected to, and I feel like it's going to be a Steam Deck essential when it hits early access on the 8th of March. While I think Egression, which is a game I've talked about before, is a better representation of actual escape rooms, Escape Simulator just has way more content that is generally pretty great, so I played a lot of it. And now it's in VR, and it works really well. There's something so different about physically inspecting items and looking under tables when doing this kind of thing that I'm kind of surprised more of this genre hasn't gone VR as well. Also, they're launching with the same Steam Workshop support as the 2D version of the game. All your DLC is going to work, and it has cross-platform co-op, including with people playing the non-VR version. For me, this is probably going to be the best version of the game, and I'm 100% going to play through it again. There's no date on it, but it really can't come soon enough.